Games in this podcast range from E to M.
Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast, the only podcast coming to you from inside Xbox, in case you missed the giant icon here behind us. I'm Jeff Rubenstein from Xbox Wire, and we're into September. I've got my fall palette on. I've had my first pumpkin spice latte of the season, and the games are coming thick and fast. There is far more than we could possibly talk about, you know, any one of us. So that's why we brought a lot of friends here. Before I introduce you, I also want to let you know we're going to be meeting with Riot Games' Arnar Gylfason about Valorant's latest agent coming to the game. Of course, Valorant came to Xbox earlier this summer, and we'll be talking more about that. And we even have hands-on on a new controller everyone's talking about, which is the Razer V3 Wolverine. It looks really cool, and we'll be trying it out. You're looking like you're going to want to go hands on it. So let's meet the cast of characters here this week. First of all, our director of premiere broadcast, Tina Amini. Great to see you again.
Great to be back, especially in the studio with you guys in person. I feel like it's been a year that I've been on the road traveling for events, so it's good to have my feet back on the ground.
But if you're a podcast viewer, we saw you just last week when you were part of the deep dive for Adamfall.
Yeah, that game looks incredible. Joe, Scrubbles, and I were having so much fun talking about it, and it had a really big presence at Gamescom, including on our stream. But more to come on that.
Put a pin in that one. We were talking about Gamescom here in a minute. Happy to welcome back our resident meme master and pumpkin spice latte general. I don't know. Josh Stein, how you do? How's that taste right now?
It's cold brew, so I switched to cold brew a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
As I'm getting older, I need something with a little bit more of a kick in the morning. Yeah. I don't know if that's a bad sign or a good sign about my sleeping habits.
We'll see if you flip this table over by the end of the show.
Yeah, maybe at least twice. But it's good to be here. I also went on the road recently. Not as much as Tina, of course. But
about half the time.
Got to do the Gamescom spin and then did a back-to-back and thought 2 days at PAX, why not? My sleep schedule's fully destroyed.
Why sleep when there are games?
Exactly. Why sleep when there are games? I like that. Yeah. So finally starting to recover, though, dealing with 18 in-laws now coming to my house.
All right. That's good. That's your
my
other
own
podcast.
Personal strifes,
Yeah. We'll save that for your self-help familial podcast. But we will want to hear all about what you did at PAX here in a minute. But we were talking about all these games coming in, and one of those games is Age of Mythology Retold. And so I'm really happy to welcome you, Emma Bridle, Director of Player Engagement for World's Edge, back here to the show. How's things going? You released last week for early access.
I was at Gamescom, bumped into Josh on the streets of Cologne. That was wonderful. Got back, had 1 day of sleep, then started getting ready for early access. So that's been going for about 7 days. And yeah, we're getting ready to launch, and very, very exciting.
All right. Very, very good. So not too long ago, seems like a long time ago, we were at Gamescom. You two all of you were in Germany, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was it?
You.
I wasn't there. I didn't get to have schnitzel this year. I get to. We did do some stuff in LA.
You'll be able to talk about what you did, though. That was
Yeah. We'll get to that. But I want to hear what you did because I had a little bit of FOMO. I didn't have any tiny beers. Tell me, what did you play? What did you get to do?
Oh my God, I actually didn't play a single thing because I was in our production compound the whole time. We had 3 days of programming, so that keeps you busy. And it's basically just kind of monitoring the feeds and the gameplay. Everything's live, so we're punching things in B-roll at the same time as someone's talking about a subject. And 3 days is quite a lot. We had about 3 hours of programming every day.
You guys were
very
hustling.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
You had a Hollywood level compound back there with 18 trailers. I walked in one, and it was like a screen across the whole thing, and a bunch of really important people.
I think probably our main control production room in that case.
Cool.
You walk in and it's it's a
it's
Star
like
Trek, like NASA. Yeah, let's go the real world version. Except we're not doing anything impressive other than talking about video games. So we're doing the fun stuff.
When I got to our booth, you guys were filming B-roll, so I walk up and there's gods and goddess cosplayers and people yelling Prostagma.
Yeah, we had Age on the stream.
Yeah,
a lot of games featured. I think it was 40 to 50 games by the end that we had, both in the booth, but also
I was going to say the booth was
too.
Biggest booth I've ever seen for Xbox.
Biggest booth we've ever made. I think it is
half the hall. I think there was half the whole.
We had a lot of
we
definitely expanded this year because this was the first time we had Activision,
the new family members
alongside us with Bethesda and Xbox Game Studios. So it was really momentous, I think, for the team to just have everyone in Germany in this big community moment. You know, this is kind of our chance to connect
And
with
some
fans.
big
this way.
booths. We had a temple, we had a castle, 2 temples, a castle. It was really, really
Buy one, get one free
Did-
on
Yeah.
temples.
Catch you by surprise. Like I think going into these, like we know some of the, like we knew like people would probably be really excited about Avowed, for instance. But when you have that many games from different creators, big and small, were there any things where it's like, oh, this game's on my radar now?
I did. There was a really good juxtaposition. I think that there were 2 games next to each other. And I think it was Date Anything and King
Date
of Meat.
Everything?
Date Everything and
Everything's
King
my
of Meat
highlight.
next to each other.
I love that they
and
were
I just like
next
that
to
they
each
were
other.
next
I
to
know,
each
yeah,
other. Yeah, it
exactly.
was great. But some friends of mine are working on King of Meat, and that was a really
Nice.
great moment.
I have an image in my mind.
Opening night
I
live.
don't know how I feel
Date
about it.
Everything?
King of Meat. What is this?
It's very cute.
So did you spotted it in Opening Night Live? They worked Jeff Keighley into the trailer as a cartoon. Did you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah, and so everyone I was sitting with in the room was going, I don't know what this is, but God, it looks fun. I'm going to play this with my kids. And I still not 100% sure. I just popped into the booth. They had fake laxative adverts in all the restrooms.
Yes.
Did
I
you
saw
see
those? At
those?
the urinals. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Got to read something. I mean,
It just looks like a lot of chaotic fun, like maybe like a Fall Guys type game.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was excited about 2 Point Museum.
oh yeah, I love the 2-point game.
They, I love 2 Point Campus, but also when they have the in-game radio stations. For me, as a Brit who lives in the US, it's like home.
Aw.
It's all like very British humor, and so I was really excited to see that they were on the booth as well. I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah.
Didn't get to play it because I was so busy, but
Yeah, that's the problem with us. Like,
I
working
know.
Gamescom. Is,
so I think Josh got round.
Yeah,
more than we did.
you're probably the most
So
floaty of all
we had to
of us.
cover it for social, yeah. So we were there with like a remote team, and we were trying to cover everything. We just have so many partners there, both first
Yeah.
party and third party. Each
Oh no, I have
experience-
to go and try everything.
I know.
So what'd you play? Let's talk.
Yeah, go on.
So I think one of the best things to start off was with a World of Warcraft experience. You can't talk about the Gamescom
Yeah.
without talking about that, which basically they bought and built these
I saw
these
those,
riding
yeah.
rigs. And so you hop on this thing. Think of it kind of like a motorcycle, and you hold
Yeah.
on, you put a VR helmet on, and then they've got wind tunnels blowing at you, and you get in the game, it's a cutscene, and suddenly you're riding a dragon in World of Warcraft. And I swear to God, there were moments where I felt like I was at a 90-degree, like, and then like there's a video of me, and I'm like 2 inches lifted and elevated going, and
It's the
we're
VR
gonna
and the
need that.
imagination.
Yeah.
I heard
Very
that from a lot of
immersive.
people, though.
So, but it's super, and I didn't get nauseous. With
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
the
Okay,
fans
yeah.
is the trick.
Ah,
You're supposed to have,
okay.
like, if you have a little bit of air blowing on you, which
Yeah.
is just me on a hot day, I guess it just makes you
It's
feel all
good.
the better.
Gamescom is really hot, so that
It is
must be a nice
extremely
little break.
So I started with that. Then I went over and did the Indiana Jones Starfield theater
Yeah.
experience, which was really fun. I'm a big Indiana Jones
Did you
fan.
get your hat, your
I
indie
did get
hat?
my hat. I may have
Nice.
brought it.
Yeah.
Well,
Props.
yeah, I do have some props. I do have some props. And
Props
then
to props.
we went from that, and then it's worth mentioning, there's a 2-story Doom statue, like Doomslayer. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's 2 stories, because it was, I mean, I'm only 5'4".
We didn't measure it.
Everything
but
is
it's
2
okay.
stories to me.
It was 8 feet tall.
But I mean, pretty much from there, the Diablo had an experience, then
Yeah.
Avowed had an experience. Walked over, Ara had an experience, then they got to play Towerborn for the first time. I hadn't played
They had a
Towerborn
great
yet.
booth. That
So I
was
got to play
beautiful, yeah.
Towerborn, which was really cool. Which
That's only a week away.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
less
Right
than a
around the
week away
corner.
for early access.
tied in nice. I got a little windmill preview before I actually went to Amsterdam and saw real windmills,
Oh, yeah.
which was kind of fun.
You do that point of comparison.
Yep. And then curved around to like, was it Warhammer? We had Warhammer at our booth, and that's
Yeah.
coming out like, I think on the 9th, and like really excited to play that one with friends. And then tailed it back over to ESO had or not ESO, Genshin. Genshin was also on our booth, and
Which is coming to Xbox, which
is
is
a
a great
big
announcement.
deal.
Yeah, for sure.
people were really excited about that. And so that was like my loop I made around. And then, of course, in the middle was like the swag stuff. So you could do like Claw Machine.
Did you do the plushie wall? Because I was so excited.
All right, just go
about
get your
that.
stuff.
Okay.
Oh,
Man,
show us
the
What are you
going.
waiting for?
So yes, I did the plushie wall. So they had a really fun game where you could buy a ticket to one of 12 doors. And so I bought a couple tickets, and I have a young one at home. And the cutest one of them was definitely this collaboration Blizzard did with an artist,
Yeah.
where they could do Murlocs. And so they did this
Super cute.
adorable little like hand knit Murloc. And so I got that for my youngest.
Yeah.
She was like, "Daddy, where are you going with my stuff?"
I was about
Yeah,
to say,
I was
how,
just saying
how did you get
that.
away with
I-
this?
I said, I just have to show it at work. She's like, "You're going to bring it back,
You were like
right?"
show and
It's like
tell
show and
day
tell-
at work.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I got out of the house, but I definitely got stopped by the plushie police
Yeah.
on the way out. And then I might as well show it off.
and wear it, right?
I went over to the Diablo booth, and what was really cool about the Diablo booth is they were giving out these like little coins, little coin pouches, depending on which vessel of hatred you played. I think I actually may have dropped.
You may have dropped.
I think I dropped the coin out.
We've got the bag.
But I do have the little baggie. But you got a coin for whichever class you pick. So I did the Centipede Poison class, so I have this cool Centipede custom coin. And this one wasn't in our booth, but it is coming out, and I was excited for it. This is the first Berserker Kazan. I actually won a poster for this, and I didn't bring the poster because I thought I'd be a giant nerd rolling out a giant poster.
I love that
that's
this
the
is a
thing
postcard.
stopping
Like you
you.
were supposed to mail this back from Germany.
Correct. It's also worth mentioning out our accessibility team was there.
Yes.
They gave me this
We'll be talking a little bit about.
They gave me
their
this really cool
announcements,
pin. I'm going to wait and let you talk about what they brought to the booth. And then, of course, they gave... I'm going to look terrible.
Put it on.
Yeah, this.
The
Gave
indie
me
hat.
Dun, dun,
Indiana
dun, dun.
No,
Jones.
it's perfect.
It's like
You're
it's
basically
like
in
indies in the room.
But they gave out these Indiana
No, you can leave that on. Yeah.
Sat in the theater.
It's good.
I think it looks terrible.
Aw.
My wife's going to
We
tell
like
me
it.
I never should have put that on.
What about the souvenir that you got from the party?
Okay, yeah.
Can we show that?
I also brought back a permanent gift from Gamescom. I brought back a tattoo.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So Diablo, our wonderful friends at Blizzard, held an event. It's upside down, but where I have to explain this. So I'm with my friend and coworker Ethan, and we walk into
Who
this-
we're going to see later in the show.
we are
Yeah.
going to see him. So I walk into the event, and it's beautifully decorated like Vessel of Hatred. There are vines everywhere. There's people cosplaying. I walk in, I see DJ and two guys, and they're in those inflatable suits.
You showed me.
I have a photo of this, but they're
Yeah.
in the inflatable cow suits. So they're like dancing and thumping. They're doing like remix of The Butcher, and these big giant cow fat suits are just bobbling everywhere, which I think two of them were developers, by the way. I think I found that out later.
Just DJs on the side.
So I see this, and it's thumping. I turn around the corner, and out of the vines comes this man, and he's like, "Do you want a tattoo?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Do you want a tattoo?" And I go in the corner, and you can pick one of 12 designs if you want and get a tattoo.
Please do not accept tattoos from strangers.
So I
Generally
accepted
not
a
a good
tattoo
choice.
from a stranger.
Yeah.
Please don't do what I do. And I got the Necromancer Corpse Explosion because I'm a Necromancer main, and I felt like it was very apt. My wife was very shocked when I sent a picture of that. And I was like, so I had a good time last night. And then what is funny is right after that, though, they have, we have places in the U.S. you can go and build stuffies. They had destroy a stuffy. So they had
no.
kill a bear. And you could open this bear up, blood and eyeballs.
No.
But I mean, very in the theme of Diablo.
Yeah,
I guess, but
So I have to say,
We've all seen the trailer from Showcase.
yeah, right? The Splinter from
Yes,
Hell. Yeah.
exactly.
So I have to say the Blizzard people know how to have a good time, and it was great to just sit there, talk to the developers, enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm obviously a big Diablo fan. I've been playing the hell out of Diablo 4. My Season 5 character is maxed out, ready for the Vessel of Hatred as it comes and drops here in October. And so I had a good old time. And then last but not least, I'm leaving that event, and one of the fans of Xbox, he opens up his bag. His name's Daniel.
I love him.
Oh, I know. Daniel with the pins?
Yes.
Everyone knows Daniel.
Daniel Hyde.
Daniel
we
with
love
the
him.
pins.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have something for you. I'm like, what? He's like, my license plate. And I go, what? He's like, I have my license plate for you. And so this is like a real license plate. There's a picture of it on his car.
Oh.
And he gave it to
No
you.
longer registered
Yeah.
to an address or anything.
So
I hope.
yes, license plate has been changed. But I came home and my wife was very confused. She's
That's
like,
awesome.
So an
so
Indiana
cool.
Jones hat, a stuffy, a tattoo, and a real
And someone
European
else's license plate.
That's how you know gaming is for all ages.
Yeah.
You
why
know,
I love
like
gaming
there's
in
something
general.
for
Yeah.
everyone. Exactly.
How many times can you say
Very
that
good.
kind of
Wow.
experience?
So you had the most fun at Gamescom.
He did.
I
And
feel like
bumped
we
maybe-
just worked.
I bumped into him when he had the tattoo fresh.
Oh,
I kept being
yeah.
like, it's a temporary tattoo, right? And he's like, no.
Nope. All in on this one.
So these were great stories.
Maybe I had too much fun. I'm so sorry.
You failed the assignment where I asked if you played anything at all, but that's
So
fine. You
we
sound
weren't-
like a good
we
time.
weren't working.
Tell you what,
We
Experienced
weren't
a lot
working.
of things.
So we did a bit of a companion event, if you would, in LA for people that weren't able to make
How
it
did
out
it
to
go?
Germany. I think it went really well. We had about 75 creators in media. You probably saw, if you saw anything from Paris Lilly or Trisha Hirschberger or a great write-up on IGN on Avowed from Destin Legary. All those things happened at that LA event. It was great to just reach more people there. But then when we were wrapping up for the day, I was like, it's my turn to play Avowed because I had really been wanting to do that. And everyone was coming down and saying, oh my God, we had a great time. Again, you don't have to take my word for it because they wrote it or they made videos about it. It's really fun. And what I want to say about it, like my favorite part, I was playing as a barbarian because that's normally not the class I will do. So I was like, I don't want to use my rogue quite yet, but there's a ton of flexibility in the way you can play Avowed. But I'm looking for the humor, the type of thing that you expect from an Obsidian game. Exactly.
Flavor.
And so I'm running a quest that's in the game. And very early on, I realized I'm getting played by this quest giver. They're using me to get a thing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to play along. Normally, I'm like, they're setting me up where I'm going to have to fight this dude and keep whatever this thing I got is. And I come back with the thing, and he's trying to like reanimate this robot god, and it doesn't work. And then he's like, I think I know what it is. We need a human soul for this, or we need, and so the choice is, you can fight them immediately, you can say no, you can argue all different skill checks, or you can go, yeah, I'm in. And I was like, I'm in. I will choose that.
Yeah,
and they were like, and like your companion, Kai, and one of the things we love from Obsidian games, like your companions have lots of dialogue and like, you really should not be doing this. You should reconsider this. This person's playing you, and I was like,
lead us,
and I'm like,
telling us we need to go home right now.
and I'm like, nope, I'm in. And the game's like, are you sure? And so then this quest giver's like, well, then you can stand right here and await the shock, and like your quest, sort of the objective that appears on the left side of the screen. It was just like, contemplate your imminent death. And then I stood there, and it killed me, and I got a game over, but then you could reload. And then the next time I fought him.
I appreciate that it lets you follow
it.
through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Because
that
it's
makes
just
you go
like
back.
rewarding your curiosity.
Yeah, I was going to say, lean into it and going,
essentially.
go on then.
Yeah, sure, why not?
I'm here. Yeah.
And that was
And that's
super
when you
fun.
hit save, and then you prepare to
Exactly.
reload.
Save
Tick
activate.
that off.
Yep.
Good
You
old
know what
scum
happens
save,
there.
Yeah.
Exactly. But even then, it sort of took me back to it conveniently had a checkpoint right before I said, yes, I'm going to stand here and sacrifice myself. So anyway, very cool. It was really great to play it. And many other games that we had as well, but we will save many of those for another time because there's a game you all can play literally right now because just coming to Game Pass, Age of Mythology, Retold.
Yeah.
As we record this, it's been available for about a week.
Yeah, we went live 5
Yeah.
p.m. Pacific last Tuesday so that people who had bought the premium edition could have just a little over 7 days. We threw in a few extra hours of advanced access, and so that's been going really, really well. Fantastic reviews, so thank you to everybody who's played. We've been listening, gathering all the feedback. We've already issued an update with a whole load of improvements, and we're working on our next one. But the big global launch is, as time of recording, is tomorrow. So as you listen to this, you can play right now, and please do. Have any of you guys played Age of Mythology, the
Yeah.
original, played Retold before? How familiar are you with it?
I got to start with it, and so
Yeah?
you're following. So one thing that I thought was really interesting. I was reading an interview with Ernest Yuen, who's the executive producer.
Love
He's been
Ernest.
working on the Age franchise for literally decades.
Oh, yeah.
And when he was talking about how people were playing the original, that you all went back to the original game, and were looking at like what people were saying in forums to see what to address.
Yeah, we've got 20 years worth of feedback to work through.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
And he was saying that where some people sort of didn't have as much fun as they could have back 20 years ago is they were playing it too much like Age of Empires, like like on the nose, like there's strategy involved.
Oh, there
you
is,
also
but
get to
it's-
throw lightning bolts out.
Oh, yeah. Lightning bolts, earthquakes, laser crocs. There's all this going on. And so it's like really leaning into, we've said we're leaning into the mythology. There's magic, there's chaos, there's god powers. Those god powers used to be single use. So a god would bless you with a power, whether that's meteor storms or the lightning bolts. And you'd have it one use. And people would hold on to it and they'd be like, I'm just going to wait for the right moment to use
Every
it. And
RPG
they never
gamer
use
knows
it.
that
So
feeling.
we've made them rechargeable now. So it's just like, you want to do meteor storms, like multiple, we're going to do that. We've added another age called the Wonder Age where everything just becomes cheaper. So you want to just start spawning loads of
Can I
units.
get one of those in real life?
And so there's just so much fun. So yeah, it is RTS, but we think it's the most approachable game we've ever done. The mythological theme, I mean, I feel like everybody's nerded out about Greek mythology at some point growing up and gotten super into it. And in what other games can you have sort of Odin go up against Ra, you know? So there's so much good stuff in it. There's more than 50 missions in our campaign. So you follow Arcantos, our hero, as he sort of travels through the world, tasked by Athena. You can play skirmish, you can play multiplayer. We've got another game mode coming post-launch that we'll be talking about soon. We've got 2 expansions coming. So whilst there's a ton of stuff to play right now, there's also a ton of stuff coming. We released a roadmap just the week of Gamescom, actually, as we were talking about all of that stuff. So there is so much good stuff.
And this is the first Age game that has launched on PC and on Xbox consoles
On day
at the same
one.
time.
Yeah, so with Age of Empires 2 and Age of Empires 4, we established them on PC and then brought them to console later. But this one, we've taken everything that we've learned from Age 2 and Age 4 and made sure that we've got that console version ready to go on day one. So if you want to play on console, if you want to play on WinStore PC, if you want to play on Steam, you can play and you can play together. And that's been really great because playing RTS with a controller is a challenge. It's a different experience, and we've had the opportunity to learn. We've got systems that will help you take out some of that micromanagement so that you can really focus on what you want to focus on. And I think we've done I'm biased, but we've done a great job on getting that experience really good with, and you can play on console with mouse and keyboard, or you can play with controller on PC. So however you want to play, we've kind of made that possible for you.
Yeah, I have to give you guys kudos. So I grew up playing Age on PC, mouse and keyboard, and then I tried the beta out for Age of Mythology, and I tried it with just a controller. And I was worried, I was skeptic, but I have to say, like, the systems that you guys built in, it was super helpful, and I had no issues with it whatsoever.
I played no part in it, but I will tell the team.
Voice of one here, but pass it on. As someone who like grew up playing those RTSs with keyboard and mouse and jumped to the controller, it was really intuitive, and I actually really enjoyed it a lot.
What's really interesting is, like, when I'm playing at RTS, I'm doing one of these. I'm leaning forward. I'm looking at my monitor. And I also, when I played it on console, I'm like leaning back.
You're on your couch and you're just
the A and B button for the most part to select and deselect and sort of move things around. It's a completely different sort of mindset to play that way. And I think it's really fun, especially for playing through the campaign.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I really like is our villager prioritization system. I struggle with that one, where you can basically say, hey, can you just assign my villagers to what they need to start building the economy? Because I want to go over here and I want to start planning my army. You take care of my economy.
I love that.
And so you can do that. There's just so many things that we've tried to build in so that people can play in different ways. If you want to be the super pro player that's micromanaging every unit individually, you can. But if you want to just have us take care of some bits whilst you go and start building your army of laser crocs, you can do that too. So I think it's going to be really, really fun. And we're seeing a lot of new players come in who are new to franchise. Possibly been hooked by the mythology theme, which is just so much fun. And so it's really excited to bring it back, both for the people that played it originally. We did the original release in 2002. It came to Steam in 2013. So there's folks that have that attachment to it, but also people who've never played it before, play it in 4K with ray tracing, with all these great systems, and have a great time causing chaos. Bacchanal of chaos is one of the phrases we like.
That's a good, like,
it's a bacchanal of chaos.
Put that
Twitter
put
bio
it on the
there.
box. Yeah.
So, all right, where can you play? Where are all the different ways that you can
So
play?
you can play on PC, you can play on Xbox, you can play on Steam, you can play on Game Pass, you can play with your different inputs. So if you have any of those platforms, go and add it to your library. Join the fun. It's so exciting.
Where can people find out more about the mode that you mentioned that's coming down the line, the roadmap, all that stuff?
So we've just put a whole load of stuff on ageofempires.com that will detail all the pantheons. We've got the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Norse, and the Atlanteans, and we've released in-depth pages so that you can go and research which pantheon do you want, which gods do you want to pick, which myth units do you want to do. So there's a whole load of stuff on ageofempires.com, and then Age of Mythology social channels as well. We've got a ton of stuff we'll be publishing so that you can learn how to play. We'll be helping new players. It's just a really exciting time for us. And we had a great showing at Gamescom, and we had so many people come and tell us their stories of how much they loved playing this growing up. My favorite actually was I was speaking to a young woman who said, I've been playing Age of Empires my whole life and it's so important to me. And I tried Age of Mythology originally and I didn't like it. Age of Mythology was just not for me, but I heard you were remaking it. So I came to your booth and I tried it, and she played our show floor demo, and she's like, and I love it. Retold has changed this for me. I'm going to pre-order it right now. So the team has just done such a great job of just adding just more into the game.
And it's been so fun seeing them like passionately talk about it.
Oh my
We had
gosh.
Ernest and the team out
Yeah.
like after showcase in LA. He did like a kind of a talk for the
Oh,
audience
yeah.
there. He was incredible. But
Yeah.
on our Gamescom stream too, just hearing everybody so excited about
Yeah.
how like the team is modernizing things in a really clever way and preserving the experience for old time players, but also like that new players that you're
Yeah,
talking about.
it's a lot of hard work by a lot of people all over the world who have just so much respect for the original game. And one of the things Ernest has been talking about is it had so much potential back in 2002, but there was limits with the tech as to how far that it could be pushed.
Yeah.
And so now we have the benefit of modern day machines that we can really just keep pushing that envelope of just more.
A little bit more, yeah.
More
That's awesome.
chaos, more magic, more fun.
More laser crocs.
More laser crocs.
And that is not the only Game Pass game hitting this week. We're actually kicking off September. When there's a new month, immediately people start asking, what's coming to Game Pass?
Yeah.
So this September, we're kicking off with truck driving, extreme outdoor sports, and a locomotive situation, one that has an interesting story. Jump in if you've played any of these games. Let me know. First off, available now, Star Trucker. Enunciation, very important there. It's available day one with Game Pass. Hop into the driver's seat of your rocket-powered big rig as you haul cargo, scavenge for salvage, and interact with an eclectic cast of star-hopping truckers in this Americana-infused journey on the ultimate open road. Space. That was the one. That's the open road. Also, and I know people that are very into this.
Oh, yes.
Expeditions, a mud runner game out September 5th. Hey, that's today. Embark on a scientific expedition with this new off-road adventure from the creators of Mud Runner and Snow Runner. Lead research missions, drive a variety of all-terrain vehicles, use high-tech tools, and manage your camp and crew to ensure your success in the wild. You ever play any of these, the expeditions, the Mud Runner games?
I haven't, but you're right that there's a huge contingent
Yeah.
of people out there that
These are fun to
love
watch.
these games.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I have played this. Riders Republic coming out September 11th on cloud console and PC. I'm a bit of a snowboarder myself. Not that I can do anything that you do in Riders Republic, but this is really cool because it's like an MMO in a way. It's a massive multiplayer playground, but the mountain is sort of like the lobby where everyone's at. And you can see other people skiing and snowboarding and doing all kinds of tricks and other things like that. And it has like some real life like parks from the across the U.S. that
Oh,
are
like
really cool.
recreated.
Like real
Yeah.
mountains and stuff like that. But you can do bikes, ski, snowboard, or wingsuit, which is very fun to do. I will say you got to work up to that. It's not the easiest thing in the world in real life and in the game. Actually,
It turns out.
yeah. And then also coming in about 2 weeks on September 17th, Train Sim World 5, available day one on Game Pass. The rails are yours in Train Sim World 5. You take on new challenges, new roles. You want to master the tracks, go through tons of iconic cities, and you immerse yourself into trains. What I thought was really interesting, I was listening to a podcast with Rod Ferguson on it. It was called The Fourth Wall. Maybe it's The Fourth Wall. Can't remember. Game developer podcast, really cool, hosted by Alex Seropian, definitely worth checking out. And Rod Ferguson's first game that he worked on was a train simulator.
Was it really?
Yeah, so he was
know
brought in originally to work on Flight Simulator back in like the late 1990s or early 2000s, and ended up like producing Train Sim, and then ended up on
Rod
Gears.
lore goes deep there.
I know. You would not where you necessarily. Maybe that's where Coltrane came from.
Ooh.
I don't know. Making
ask
that
him
up.
next time we play
Probably
Diablo.
not true. We should ask him. But we definitely need to have him back here before Vessel of Hatred ships. So mental note made. All right. This weekend, do you have plans? Do you know what you're playing?
Call of Duty 6 Black Ops Beta.
Why? How did you know that? Yes, this is actually, we're going into week 2 of the Black Ops beta. Last week was for people who pre-ordered. This is open. Everyone can try it. And that means even if you don't have Game Pass Core, you can play. And so that's
No
great.
reason not to, right?
No
Free for
reason
all.
not to. This is it kicks off September 6th, going through September 9th, includes all the other maps and modes from last weekend. And if you did play last weekend. The good news is during this early access period, you'll find that your leveling has carried over.
Oh, great.
You want to try to get up to level 30. That will allow you to unlock all kinds of cool stuff. There's going to be 2 new maps this weekend that weren't there last weekend, Babylon and Stakeout, in addition to the gunfight and face-off kill order game modes.
People have been having fun with that one.
Yeah.
For sure. There's people on my team that are already unlocking.
The hostage
Yeah.
move. There's some pretty great clips on social. I did the whisper as like, hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. Like when I grab somebody, and I don't think they laughed as much as I laughed, but I was cackling like a kid.
That's going to happen to me a lot. It's just what I know.
That's what I'm predicting for myself too.
That's pretty good.
So Call of Duty Black Ops 6, of course, is launching next month, October 25th on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Windows PC, and yes, it is coming day one to Game Pass. Cannot wait. I've always loved the Black Ops campaigns, but zombies, I feel like I'm already putting together my zombies crew. So,
And if you're not sure, you should re-watch because we just had it, last week. Time is but a figment to me now.
Gamescom?
But Call of Duty Next was right after Gamescom.
Yeah.
So I did the wild thing of traveling from Germany.
You were
coming
there,
back
Oh, you were in
right?
for 2
DC?
days.
Tell
I
us
was
about
out in
that.
DC.
Please, because that
It
museum
was
looked insane.
incredible. Yes, absolutely insane. I mean, all of the creators walking through were just floored immediately. Which, thank you for all the people who came and thanked me, but I had nothing to do with that event. I was completely Activision. So happy just to be there and invited and checking out how they do like a major moment for Black Ops.
So this
6.
sucker though, we have to this was in a museum. They
Yes.
cleared the lobby, moved the
whole
paintings
thing,
and the marble
yeah,
statues.
100%. And had our own little statues there with some of the
that's so cool.
blindfolding, and there was just huge drapes scaling all the way to the giant ceilings. And obviously, the main event was the 2 stages. There were 2 round stages, and circling each of those stages were, I think, up to 250.
Oh, it was hundreds, yeah. Was it really
creators.
250?
Yeah, I think it was 250
There's
was
some
the final count.
impressive
Don't quote me on
Yeah.
that. but-
showing that
Oh, yeah.
whole circle, and everyone was creating content. Everyone
Yep.
was live. I have to shout out Snowbike Mike.
Yeah.
I saw him
He had
live.
so
he was
much
having
fun.
the time of his
But
life.
Yeah,
the
he did
sun-
his pre-stream stretches,
Yeah.
which was adorable because I was up on the the staff had access to some of the higher railings, and
Yeah.
I went to go take my pictures, of course. And there's Snowbike Mike just doing his pre-stream
Gotta get those
stretches.
hammies ready
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
round.
you gotta-
Exactly.
yeah. But it was so impressive, and they had a whole motorcade out there as
Of
well.
course they did, man. Nobody does an event like Call of
We
Duty.
kind of took over the city momentarily just for that weekend. So it was a very couple days. But I love the strategy. And actually on our podcast right here, back when things looked a little different, we had the yellow couch and we had Phil out here post the
the cheese
APK
house.
acquisition. I specifically name dropped Call of Duty Next because I think the format is so clever. They had tons of information just from that one broadcast stage. Stephanie and Alex
Of the
aka
COD
Golden
Pod.
Boy.
You need to check out the COD Pod. Very good. We need to get Stephanie on the show.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
I would love to have Steph out. She does an amazing job every year hosting the event since they've had it. So even just their content alone was really wide ranging. They had a bunch of the dev team members out, come and talk about each of their disciplines, talk
They had
about
Twitch
Omni
drops. I was
movement.
collecting
They
those
had
while I
Twitch
was
drops. Nice. That was all for you, Stein.
Thank you.
But they went through a bunch of multiplayer reveals, bunch of gameplay, but they're also simultaneously swapping and almost kind of casting, which Golden Boy is perfect for,
Oh, yeah.
some of the actual gameplay. So I think Snowbike Mike, they had him up for a moment. Our Xbox On team friends were also on the stream. Sam actually won a game of Warzone.
Did he win?
He did. Yeah.
He's never letting that down.
No, I was about to say, let's not give him any more
We're going
airtime.
to hear about that for the
Yeah.
next 2 years.
Yes, exactly. But it was very cool to see how people were already adapting to the Omni movement system, and and then they also at the end of the stream, Stephanie got to announce the very popular map Verdansk coming back
Yes.
to Black Ops 6. So it was jam packed with news, and I
Yeah.
thought it's just such a clever event with how it's intertwined with the community.
I mean, for those of
that's,
us that
so
work
much
in
a part
community and
of it.
events,
Yeah.
it's great to watch, the new family members and be like, hey, could we do
And
a
kind
little
of
bit like
join
that?
in on this news
Yeah.
moment together, because often it's the post-release
Yes.
content, but this is leading up to the beta, and so people get that opportunity to go hands-on. So if you want to know what Black Ops 6 experience is like, there's 4 hours of content out there
Times
online about
250
it.
creators.
Yes,
Hell
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
I want to know how they plugged in that many computers into one building and
it's a
did
lot.
all the lights.
I want to see the
come out.
power. Wait, maybe I
Yeah.
don't want to see the power bill.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to tap you in here, Stein, because there was a really interesting and awesome tweet that went out this morning or earlier earlier this week, I should say, from our friends over at Capcom USA. Can you sum it up for us?
That's right. We are very happy to announce alongside with Capcom that Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics and Capcom Fighting Collection 2 will be released on Xbox One. This is going to be coming in 2025. It will work with your Series X, your S, your Xbox One. Stay tuned for more information. You'll want to kind of stay tuned to the Capcom official channels, but we're really excited with this partnership and we're excited for the announcements drop date, and we've already been seeing the reactions, and people are thrilled.
Very cool. Yeah, I love my Marvel vs. Capcom. And then Capcom Fighting Collection 2 was actually recently announced. I think it was during a Nintendo Direct, and so confirmation that's coming to Xbox.
Yep.
That's some of like the Capcom versus SNK games, I want to say, which were really cool. So a lot to look forward to, and we look forward to sharing much, much more.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
So one of the things that we had talked about very briefly, in fact, your pin had something to do with it. We mentioned some big announcements over at Gamescom, and a couple of announcements came out during our broadcast involved our focus on accessibility in gaming. So 2 things. One is the Xbox Adaptive Joystick, and then also joystick toppers. So the Xbox Adaptive Joystick is designed as a companion for the Xbox Adaptive Controller and other Xbox controllers. It's made to meet the needs of players with limited mobility, and the Xbox Adaptive Controller is sort of a singular one-handed controller. It can help make gaming be just more accessible for however you play. We were showing this off on site actually at our event, and everyone really liked that. What's really cool is you connect the Xbox Adaptive Controller, and this way you get like the full adaptive setup. You can plug it directly into your console as well, or PC, or you can link it with an Xbox controller to play solo with full controller functionality. There's just a ton of flexibility. You can just sort of figure out what works for you, and I think that's what's
It lets you cater to your specific needs.
Yeah, I have to really shout out the accessibility team. I had the pleasure of working with some of them and the accessories team when we built the social plans for this. And through that, I got to see kind of how they built the video for this. You got to meet 3 cast of characters who kind of use this IRL. There's an adorable little boy. I think his name is Leo, if I remember right. And he was nonverbal, but he was so excited to see his reaction to this. And the use cases of this, I think our accessibility team, removing any bias, working here, absolutely sets the bar extremely high. Yeah. And the 3D print is really cool. Let's
get into that.
That's a brand new experience.
Yeah.
So
The toppers.
Yes, so there are now, I believe, 6 toppers available online, and the team's obviously looking at what kind of options exist. But you can 3D print these for different needs. They will pop onto that, pop off, depending on what you want to do. I know a lot of libraries, at least here in the U.S., offer 3D printing services for free.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can also take those plans to like a local library, and you could have it 3D printed, and then bring it back home, and then use.
Well, yeah. So the way this works is you go over to Xbox Design Lab, you just search for that in your search engine of choice, and it pops up. And you're used to designing controllers and stuff to buy. This is actually to design the right type of thumbstick topper for you, and then we just give you the CAD files, and then however it is that you want to get these printed out, you do that. There's no cost. Obviously, if you're going to get these printed and you don't have a 3D printer or the access to do that, but the point is we give you the design, and you just go ahead and do that, and you make it what works for you, and if you need to refine it and try it again, you just go back and readjust those things. So that's it.
And it's worth saying these work on the regular controllers too. It's not just the joystick.
Yeah.
So if you are a person who uses any kind of these accessibility services, or maybe you use some people already use a one hand on a standard issue like Series X, Series S controller, these thumbsticks will also work with that.
It just clicks right onto the existing thumbstick.
Correct. These are printed in a way that they snap right on. Yep. It's just a really cool program. And again, it's great to call it the toppers. We're not charging for that. You can preview the design, pick it off, and then go to like I said, like a local library. I heard a lot of people talking about that. And then the number one question at the booth was, can I do 2 at once of the joysticks? And I just theoretically you can. You just need the XAC to be able to plug.
Yeah,
you need the adaptive controller.
The adaptive controller is one of the things that I always talk about that makes me really proud to be at Xbox. I'm an ambassador for an accessibility gaming charity called Special Effect. Worked with them for a long time, and I was visiting Redmond from the UK the day that we announced the adaptive controller and was in sort of the accessibility lab. And so it's really special, and just getting to work with that team and see how it changes lives. And you can just customize it to what you need so that you can continue to play and you can have that joy. It's just I get a lot of tears whenever they send me videos.
Happy
it's such,
tears.
such
Yeah.
wonderful
Yeah.
stuff that we get to do. So
There's so much thoughtfulness from that team
Yes.
too. I love that we sort of pioneered it with the adaptive controller, and
Yeah.
there's all this thoughtfulness going into, okay, well, how do you expand and innovate on that? And of course, it's done in like deep collaboration with the disability community.
Yeah.
And I love one of the stories coming out of our Gamescom broadcast, which I was very proud to debut this news on our stream, was also because we had conversations with the product marketing team and the hardware designers. Mm-hmm. And they were just talking about how they actually worked with people at local Seattle hospitals and working with people who use gaming as rehabilitation. So also just thinking about like, what is that experience and like, how can we also come in and contribute and help just offer more flexibility there
Well,
too.
that's awesome. I wonder if
Yeah.
they worked with programs like Gamers Outreach too. That's another
Yeah.
one where they put consoles in children's hospitals
Yeah.
so that way they
Yeah.
can
And
play video games.
It has so many different applications. You think about disability as permanent, temporary, and situational. Like if you have an injury and like you can't use your arm for a bit, then you can adapt your setup whilst you recover. Or if you've got a sleeping newborn, and again you've got
Yeah.
limited movement, that it can apply to so many different situations. And I just think it's such great work and really makes me proud
Agree.
of Xbox. Yeah.
All right. We had talked and teased a little bit earlier on a bit about Valorant, but recently our friends over at Riot did a surprise launch of Valorant on Xbox, and recently they just released their newest operator, Vyse, across all platforms at the same time. And of course, if you have Game Pass, no better way to get a hold of all of these different operators. So Riot's director of production, Arnar Gylfason, sat down with Ethan Rothamel to discuss everything going on in the world of Valorant. So let's check it out.
Hey folks, I'm here with Arnar Gylfason, production director of Valorant at Riot Games. Arnar, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, Ethan. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me on. Excited to be here.
Of course. I've been playing so much Valorant these last couple weeks, kind of leading up to getting to meet you. This is the first time we've met. And so honestly, like, I've just been living, eating, breathing Valorant with my friends after work. And I'm, obviously the game has been out for years on PC, but it was a surprise launch on console in early August. I'm curious how the vibes have been at work and how reception has been from the console fans.
Yeah, I mean, the vibes have been immaculate, I think. We're super excited to have launched the game on console now. It was obviously a journey for us to learn how to take Valorant, both the product itself and make it right on console, and also for the team to learn how to ship on console. That's like a whole new platform that this team has not shipped on before. And so I think we're pretty excited, both in player reception of the game and also just in our ability to launch and now serve this entire new player base.
Heck yeah, man. I am curious with that in mind, like I am a bit of a gamer on console and PC, and obviously there's drastically different inputs, drastically different play styles across them. I got to ask, like, while I have you here, are you seeing any differences between the two? Like maybe agents that are getting picked more often on console. I don't mean to throw shade at my console brethren as someone who plays with a controller mostly, but we have a tendency to look up a little less than maybe a mouse and keyboard player. I'm curious if you've seen differences like that already.
I would say nothing that I would ascribe to console players specifically. Valorant is obviously a fairly deep and complicated game with a high mastery curve. And so I think what we're seeing is more just a whole swath of new players coming in who are learning how to play the game and kind of understanding the basic mechanics and the strategy behind it. It's actually very similar to what we saw when we first launched the game on PC in 2020, which is just people are learning how to approach the game and how to play it. That said, there are some very sweaty console players out there, and the high skill bar of console play right now looks scary. That's crispy gameplay.
I can vouch as someone who's sat and ranked and is not the best at it. I can definitely vouch that there are some quality players. But you brought up a really good point, which I thought was interesting. I've been playing a lot of my friends I play with on Xbox. They're not PC gamers. This is their first foray into Valorant. And so while I get to be better than them for maybe a month or two before they catch up, I'm kind of curious in your mind, because there are things that they brought up that they like. We played many games where they didn't realize one, you could ADS. Like that was I think something that was like, oh, I didn't realize this was a feature. I'm curious what features in mechanics in Valorant that maybe unique to console players you think would give folks an edge if they're booting up Valorant for the first time.
Yeah, I think the sort of generally speaking, I think the important thing to remember about Valorant is that it's not a game where you run and gun. This is a game where you need to be methodical about the fights that you take. You need to stop, aim, and shoot. And with that in mind, yeah, exactly. But with that in mind, having features like focus mode, which is something we made specifically for controller play, is so important because it allows you to engage that trigger and then slow down the rate at which there's a new guest on the podcast.
A new cat. Nice.
And it allows you to kind of slow down your turning rate when you engage the sticks. So using that to your advantage, kind of being able to quickly peek around the map, like taking in the sights, understanding, hey, where's there a potential threat? Where's there an enemy? And then when you take the gunfight, coming to a stop, engaging that focus mode, slowing down your sensitivity to get that crisp headshot. Like that's really kind of that's the trick. That's the magic behind it, right?
Totally. And you feel, it is extremely satisfying. But I'm glad you brought up focus mode because I do want to shout out you and the team there for, I think you do have to do some unique things sometimes when a game transitions to console like this. And it feels so intuitive. It feels so snappy. Frankly, and candidly, I was really worried about the transition as someone who was played a lot on PC. And it really felt effortless. Like in a few games, I was kind of feeling it pretty quick, and it felt really responsive, really intuitive. So I just want to take a moment to shout out the team because it is you guys did great work there.
Thank you so much. It was super important to us that Valorant on console is still just Valorant. It's not a different game. It doesn't play any differently. It's still that same 5v5 tactical shooter. So while we obviously had to adapt the game to controllers, we had to innovate things like focus mode, we had to retune some of the agents and think about how does this game at the end of the day, whether you are playing mouse and keyboard on PC or whether you pick up a controller on your Xbox, how do we make sure that this game still feels the same and plays the same, even if there are slight unique variations between the platforms that you play on? I hope we got it. I think we got it. I hope we got it.
I think you did. I'm just one man, but I have played quite a lot, and I've really enjoyed it. My team can vouch. We may not be winning as many games as we'd like, but it's definitely not because of the controls that you implemented. I promise you that. I'd love to talk about Vyse because just rolled out, brand new operator, first agent that was kind of rolled out simultaneously across platforms, and she looks like a lot of fun. I imagine you're pretty excited to see console players kind of jump in with the new agent launch. I'd love to talk about how that experience has been on your side.
Yeah, it was one of the fundamental questions we asked ourselves of like, how do we show up for console players? And one of the key ingredients there is Valorant should be one Valorant no matter where you're playing it, which means bringing content to all of our players at the same time is very important to us. And what's super exciting about Vyse is she's the first agent that we now ship to all of our players at the same time. So this is kind of the first time that players on console and players on PC are all getting access to a brand new gameplay content right at the same moment. And so I think what's going to be interesting now is we see how they both adapt at the same time, how they learn how to play the new agent, how it fits into team comps, what the play style is, etc. is not something that console players are going to be looking to PC players maybe and say, ooh, how do they play it? It's everybody's discovering it kind of at the same time.
Yeah, super cool. As someone who works on the game, is there something that gets you most excited about a new agent dropping, like when you're watching the community? Like I know you highlighted a few things, but I'm curious.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always like we do a lot of internal playtesting, obviously, for agents, and we have our own theories about, how do you best play? Like, what's the optimal way to play this new agent or play on this new map? It's the same with Vyse. It's like yeah, we've done tons of playtesting, and we think we figured out how exactly she fits into the lineup and where she's like a power pick, etc. And now players are going to tell us like, hey, how right were we? How wrong were we? Did we overbalance, underbalance? But that's always the most exciting part. Is just what will players do with this new thing that we gave them, and what are we going to learn from them when they get their hands on it?
Yeah, never underestimate gamers' abilities to get creative or come up with scenarios that you guys didn't even think of.
Absolutely.
I love that. Arner, I got to ask while I have you. I appreciate all the time you've already given us today for this interview, but I'm curious who your maybe a cheesy question, but I'm curious your favorite agents yourself, and maybe if you resonate with any agent the most, maybe on a personal level.
On a personal level.
I don't want to assume breach. I don't want to assume breach, but
let's make no assumptions there. Yeah. Actually, it's funny. I have two favorite agents, and they're very, very different. So my favorite agent to play when I'm kind of just having fun, vibing out, is Raze. Just turn off my brain, satchel in, paint shells, guns, just having fun. Yeah. If I'm playing ranked and I want to sweat it out and I want to win, I usually switch to Sova, and I play much more reserved. I play for information and picks, and I set up my team.
Nice.
But I would say that's more try-harding, and then
sure.
Raze comes out when I'm having fun.
Yeah, I love that. Similarly, I am very much a Sova main in ranked. I play a few characters. Sova I love, and Reyna when I'm getting a little sweaty, but then I also got to shout out Deadlock, because I just started playing Deadlock this week, actually, and just really, really fell in love with her. But Deadlock, I always like...
Deadlock is super fun.
Yeah, she's awesome. And I will say, like, the first 3 games with her, and I'm telling you this transparently, I was like, Deadlock sucks. She's not my play style. I cannot stand her. And then I was like forcing myself to keep playing her. And within 2 games, I was like, oh no, she's a new main. Like, I love her so much. And it just comes down to, like, you brought it up earlier, figuring out your play style, figuring out your team, because you do kind of have to roll with the punches of, like, what is your team doing? And I love, even if I'm at the bottom of the leaderboard, I like characters like Sova, because to your point, it's like, well, I'm the king of communication. You wouldn't have got that kill without my exactly.
That's right.
I helped, bro. Yeah, I knew where that person was, so you could get the kill. Yeah,
enjoy the top fragging. That's all me.
And I helped. Oh man, Arner, I could talk with you forever, but I know it's a busy week. Vyse is out pretty recently, so I'm going to let you get back to your team, but I really do appreciate the time. Any parting words for the fans?
Thank you so much. I mean, it's been out for a while now on console, but we're so excited about having this entire new community of players to serve and to work with and collaborate with. And just excited to see where the next years take us as Valorant continues growing and players get more comfortable with it on console, to start seeing that, what does that real top tier gameplay look like on console.
I love it. Arner, thanks so much for your time. Folks, Valorant is available now on PC and consoles, and if you have Game Pass, you have all the agents unlocked for free. So get out there and enjoy it.
Thanks so much, Arnar and Ethan, for the interview. Now, this week, Razer released its newest controller, the Razer Wolverine V3s, not to be confused with the Deadpool controller
Still got a tough as hell name, though.
It's true.
The Wolverine V3.
Yes, well, like the V2 was actually considered a very great controller. We'll have to see what happens with the Deadpool V2. Anyway, this is Razer's first wireless Xbox controller, and you didn't realize this, but Indy snuck this in here.
Oh.
It's right here. All right, do you mind?
Yeah, sure.
Emma, you can open this up. I'll release a little bit about it, or reveal a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Okay,
all about
very
it.
nice. This is an elite level controller. Yeah. This is a high-end controller. It retails for $199.99, and it's got all of the bells and whistles. If you hold down the Nexus button, you'll see where it lights up. They did not go overboard on the chroma. Yeah, see, it lights up right there.
With a nice vibration there, yeah.
The V2 had a bunch of chroma on the side. This is a little bit more restrained.
Matte.
But it's all about for this one. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Xbox Elite Controller V2.
Same.
This feels very different in terms of everything from its feel in the hands to its clicks. So they do have mouse-like click back paddles and claw grip bumpers, as well as I would say the face buttons as well, have a real pronounced click to them. It
I
feels
like that. On the mic.
It feels a lot different.
Yeah.
There you go. Do it again.
Yeah.
You can hear that.
Nice.
Feels good
There's
as
the
well.
clicking right there.
I love a good tactile feedback.
Yeah, it's a nice weight in the hands.
Yep.
Yeah, and I do like that click sound.
I was playing a bunch of Star Wars with this.
And the Razer is changing color.
All of those things are, of course, programmable. It has Hall effect precision thumbsticks. People love the Hall effect because it's
Magnetic.
anti-drift accuracy. And this is, again, the first wireless Xbox controller from Razer. It has a dongle. Once you pop it in there, I didn't think about it again. It was there. It just worked like you would expect it to. You can customize. Of course, it works for Xbox and for PC. You can unlock advanced features and personalize it via the Razer controller app. But of course, it comes with the carrying case, a 10-foot long USB Type-C cable. So if you want zero latency, that's how you do it. You just go ahead and wire
For
it
that
in.
Black Ops 6 weekend beta.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Nice tie-in.
They also worked with Snipe Down. I don't know if you know Snipe Down. He's a Halo professional esports player, and so he consulted on this one.
Always good to get the pros in to make sure you're doing it right.
Exactly. What I would recommend, because it feels quite a bit different. You might say, okay, I have an Elite. Is this for me? There are Razer stores around the country. There's one here in Seattle. I know there's a bunch. This is one where you're going to want to go in and you're going to hold it.
Yeah,
because
you want to get it.
It feels, to me, it felt a little bit smaller, and just the angles are a little bit different. And
know what
that
you
might,
mean. Yeah, actually, yeah.
So that might be what you want. I think, like in terms of like the button, the sticks, all those things are great. It's top quality. It's all going to be about how does this feel in your hands and do you like it? Personally, I don't use back paddles, but I will say the back
I
paddles
do.
here, they're not obtrusive. And so, which is good. So they don't come off, but I never found them on my way. I played about 15 hours on this controller playing Star Wars Outlaws. And I very quickly got used to this. So it's a really nice controller.
Yeah, because my controller at home is an Elite too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this feels familiar, but also
It's a little different,
familiar
right?
but different.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you say that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So try it out because it's it's a sizable investment in a high quality controller.
I like
and
playing
so
controller
I would say try
on
it
my
out.
laptop, and maybe
Yeah, and it will work for
this
that.
is the solution because otherwise I have to keep unpairing my Elite from my console. So maybe
There's
I
actually a
need one of
secret I
these.
can tell you about
Ooh,
that.
okay.
Yes.
Top tips from
Well, I can just tell everyone.
There's a little tip for that.
Yeah. If you for any Xbox controller, if
Yeah.
you double tap the sync button, it switches between connecting to your console and using the Bluetooth transmitter, and you'll see
gonna
it'll
save me
blink
so
differently.
much time.
So
Thank
you
you
can
very
look that
much.
up. There's lots of YouTube videos, but you don't
Yeah.
have to resync every time.
Oh, there
double
we
tap.
go.
Yeah. Anyway.
Life hacks.
Yeah, learn something if you made it 58 minutes into
Controllers
this episode.
and your zombies. The double tap gets you
There
anywhere.
you go.
Yeah.
We buried all the value to the very
Yeah,
end
but-
here because that actually just about wraps us up for this week. So please feel free to follow the show on twitter.com/XboxWire, YouTube, and actually we are now over on WhatsApp. So if you search for Xbox News
So
on
is
WhatsApp.
Age of Empires.
And so is
Lost you
it-
there.
So is Xbox.
And so is Xbox. Xbox has millions of followers. If you're watching this, you're probably already following.
But congratulations on launching the Wire channel on WhatsApp. So now you guys
Yeah.
are providing the latest and greatest.
I had a bit of
Xbox
good
news.
advice from somebody.
Oh,
on that.
that's right. All Megan. All Megan.
Yeah, okay. All right, so thank you, Tina, Stein, Emma, for joining
you.
us this week. Any final thoughts? Anything you're just dying to say before we get out of here?
Play Age of Mythology, Retold. Just plug that again.
I think that's
Would love to have you.
way to end it.
I didn't get the chance to talk about how much I'm loving Star Wars Outlaws, so play Star Wars Outlaws as well. Pack
Same.
your whole
Play
weekend with
play
it.
all of it.
Play all the game.
Nick's did a little profile takeover for us, and we put a little cuteness.
Oh.
in
Oh,
there.
I saw
that
little
little
social
rascal.
chance. I know. Getting in a little place.
Yes, exactly.
Please give us a follow over on the global channels at Xbox on all your local and favorite social media handles.
Very good. Thank you all
Thank you for
joining
having
me, and thanks to you for joining us. We will see you on the next one.